This is an RCA CR-91A receiver, very similar to the AR-88 series of the Second World War. This dates a little bit later, early 1950s. So far all I've done is change a couple of resistors in the RF stages and installed some new electrolytics in as filter capacitors in place of the large paper in oil capacitor on the top of the chassis there, which have usually failed. Apart from that, I've replaced no other capacitors yet. I did replace the power transformer, which one part of the high voltage winding was shorted out. So that's been rewired to incorporate the new transformer. And I've done some resistance checks from the high voltage rail to the chassis and from the screen supplies to the chassis, and they seem okay, quite high, about 22k. So I thought I'd give it a try as it is. I did check a few of the these micromold paper and oil capacitors, and they actually tested okay. I also checked some of these bathtub style paper and oil capacitors, and these were a little bit leaky, just a little bit, a few microamps leakage on the ones I tested. So I thought it was probably worthwhile just giving it a try to see if the new power transformer is working okay with the electrolytics and so on, just so I've got a reasonable high voltage supply and that the heater windings are okay, because I don't know the exact spec of this transformer, but it's similar size to the old one. So here we go. I'm just going to switch it on and use a variax. I'll wind the voltage down, switch it on, give it about 50 volts to start with. Just do some checks. Oh, high voltage is going up. This is monitoring the filter capacitors. I'm reading about 150 volts there, and this meter is measuring the stabilized 150 volt supply. So wind it up a little bit more. Now got about 90 volts applied to the receiver. And we've got about 300 volts. Oh, and some music coming through. Ooh, distorted music. Yeah. Audio gains fully up, RF gains turned down a bit. AVC is switched on, so right, the distortion is probably due to leaky capacitor on the AGC line. I've got some something registered on the S meter there. That's right, that's behaving itself with the RF gain control on it. And with the AGC line, it is actually working up to a point, but it's probably got a leaky capacitor across the AGC line and it's not developing the full AGC voltage. So the front end's blocking there with a strong signal, which this is. See if I can... oh, wait a minute, this isn't broadcast band. This is right at the top end of the broadcast band. This receiver is the... doesn't have the broadcast band on it. It's got an LF band instead. So I can't tune the broadcast band. Anyway, that's a good start. I'll just wind up to full line voltage now. 117 volt line voltage. We should have about 300 volts on here. And we've got very close to 300 volts, probably about 310 volts on plate voltage. And we've got 150 volt stabilized supply to the local oscillator. That's good. No sign of anything untoward at the moment. Let's check the current draw. It's drawing about 105 watts. Sounds about right for a 14 tube radio. Oh yeah, very distorted. Okay, so anyway, I think the next job will be to replace the capacitors. I might just try changing out the AGC capacitors first and see if that makes the difference. But I'll probably end up replacing all these micromolds and these paper in oil as well, these bathtub caps. Even though they test okay now, you know, in a few years' time they're probably not. So I think there's probably about 35 of these little things to change out. So it'll take me a little while to do that, and I'll give it another try.